Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second live session of the WaPOR Hackathon, from database to application. If you have been following the hackathon, you know that our teams have been working hard for a week to select a challenge, brainstorm ideas, and develop a detailed concept. And today is the day where we will be able to see their final results in the form of 1-minute video pitches. For those joining us for the first time today, this hackathon is being put on by the WaterPIP project, which stands for Water Productivity Improvement in Practice. We are a consortium of knowledge institutes based in the Netherlands with the goal of improving water productivity in the agricultural sector using WaPOR data. The partners implementing this hackathon are IHE Delft Institute for Water Education, Meta Research, and Wageningen University and Research, with active support from the FAO and ELIF, and financial support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands through the IHE Delft Partnership Program for Water and Development. For those who are new to WaPOR, WaPOR is the FAO portal to monitor water productivity through open access of remotely sensed derived data. It is a publicly accessible, near real-time database using satellite data that will allow monitoring of agricultural water productivity. And it is also the platform on which this hackathon is based. All teams need to develop an app, such as a mobile application, a web map, or a QGIS plugin that helps solve a problem in one of our 4 themes. These themes are communication to smallholder farmers, big data for water management, remote sensing for environmental issues, and monitoring the SDGs.
So to officially kick off this session, we would like to welcome Marloes Mul, who is the project leader of the WaterPIP and leads the Water Accounting and Water Productivity Group at IHE Delft. Good morning, Marloes.
Good morning. My name is Marloes Mul, and I'm the project leader of the WaterPIP project and an associate professor of water resources management at IHE Delft. Our goal in the WaterPIP project is to reach 25% water productivity improvement in the agricultural sector using the WaPOR portal. This hackathon represents one of the ways we are achieving this goal by bringing in the experience and knowledge of our colleagues from all over the world. In this way, we can work together to use the data in the WaPOR portal to improve water productivity in the field. Over the past week, I've been watching the WaPOR hackathon closely, and I've been very impressed at the hard work and creativity of these teams. Today, this hard work will be showcased to the hackathon jury members, the other hackathon participants, and all of our colleagues, friends, and family who are watching on the YouTube live stream. I want to congratulate all of the teams to making it this far, and I look forward to seeing the great ideas presented by each team. Afterwards, I encourage you all to continue building on your ideas regardless of the outcome today. Your ideas represent the future of using remote sensing to improve water productivity, and they have the potential to create a positive impact on our local communities, regions, and even countries. Thank you for your great work in this hackathon, and good luck today.
Thank you, Marloes, for kicking off our live session today. And I agree that the teams have been working very hard. We've asked a lot from them, and they should be so proud of their results. Speaking on behalf of the coaches, it was a pleasure to get to know the teams and watch them progress over the last week.
I agree. As a coach also, it was a really rewarding experience, and I'm very proud of all of my team members, and I know other coaches are too. And with that, I think it's time to start the video pitches.
But first, let's go over the agenda for today. Firstly, I will go over the rules for today's session to make sure everyone knows what will happen. Then I will go through the judging criteria so everyone knows what the jury members are looking for. And then we will introduce you to the jury members themselves. After that, we will watch all the team video pitches. Plus, you get a few bits of interesting information about each team to make it more personal. So we have more engagement with each other, even though this is an online hackathon. After the video pitches, we have a pre-recorded expert panel that talks about how to turn your great app idea into something greater. So I think it's something that many of the participants would find really interesting. After that, we'll take a short break. I think people will need to stand up, maybe get something to drink, just take a small break from the computer. And we'll be back around 10 a.m. Central European time. And after that break, we'll have Job Klein come, and he'll talk about his inspiration for WaPOR and how he sees the future of WaPOR. While that's happening, the jury will be looking at the results. So after Job speaks, they will come back to present the final decision, so who the final 4 finalists are, and then we'll talk about the next steps for the hackathon, and we can close the session. So there are just a few rules for today. First is that each team will have the same amount of time to showcase their information. So we'll start with a 30-second introduction to each team, and this will be followed by their 1-minute video pitch. After the video is shown, the judges will have an additional 1 minute to make their initial scores according to the judging criteria. After all pitches have been shown, the judges will have an additional time, we think about 45 minutes, to re-review the videos and any of the mural documentation. So if you don't know what a mural is, it's an interactive document that the teams have been working on all week. So it takes them through the creative process, and they can define challenges, brainstorm possible solutions, they refine their ideas and develop their concept. And finally, in section 7, they document their detailed concept and prepare for the pitch. So this is just extra information that both the coaches and the jury members will have available to them. And finally, at the end, the 4 best teams will continue to the next round. So initially, we had thought to have each theme have 1 winner, but since we let teams choose which theme they wanted to be a part of, we had many teams in some themes and not so many in other themes. So we decided to put everyone together and made the best teams win. Those 4 teams that are selected will then get 2 additional weeks and additional support from experts to develop their concept into a working prototype and a plan for the next steps. So the judging criteria is broken down into different requirements and different percentages. So the basic things, the foundation, is we want to know who the users are, how the users will use the app, is the impact of your app on the users, but also the impact of your app on solving the challenge that you selected. Those things together are worth 15%. The next 2 are the most important actually. So we want to have a clear description of how you will use the WaPOR data if you are using any other data sources, and what is the spatial scale that you plan to use for your app. That is worth 25%. Also worth 25% is how unique or innovative is your app or approach. Is it something that we haven't seen before? Those are the things that need to be included in the pitch, but there are also things that the teams will also be judged on. For 10% of the score, they need to consider how feasible the concept is to be turned into a working prototype. So this is something that the jury members will use their own professional judgment and be able to make a decision on. And then after that, we also look at the overall pitch quality. So is it to a general audience, and does it focus on the concept at hand? So that is worth 5%. But the coaches have spent a lot of time with these teams over the week, and they also have input. So at 5% each, the coaches will also be putting in scores for the completeness of the mural, and how well each team member participated, but also the communication with each other and engagement with the coach.
So now we would like to introduce everyone to the jury members. These are experts in the field of WaPOR, water productivity, hydrology, and app development. And we are very happy to have them here with us. So a big thank you to our jury members for volunteering your time to be with us today. So our first jury member is Rami Wujudeh from Veritech, a dynamic ecosystem for the creation and the development of Lebanese startups fostering innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. Rami joined Veritech in 2014 as the Deputy General Manager. He has been leading the incubation and entrepreneurship business development arm that supports innovative Lebanese startups, SMEs, providing business support, mentoring, coaching, fundraising, hosting, networking, and internationalization, and part of innovation and entrepreneurship regional programs. He has designed and leads the ACT Smart Innovation Hub initiative, a first of its kind in the MENA, focusing on both ArcTech and CleanTech. He is also the manager of the Regional Innovation Hub in the MENA region for water and energy for food. Challenge Fund. So I think he's very excited to have with us and will bring a good input into the judging.
Our second jury member is Anna-Marie Clausse from eLeaf. Anna-Marie has over 20 years of experience in the use of satellite Earth observation data and algorithms for environmental applications. In 2015, she joined eLeaf, a high-tech company offering satellite-derived services for agriculture and water management. Internationally focused, Anna-Marie has been involved in projects worldwide on agricultural production and irrigation at scales, ranging from single fields to river basins. As co-lead of the agriculture project of the European Space Agency's EO4SD program, Anna-Marie demonstrated the potential of satellite Earth observations for monitoring agricultural production, land degradation, and irrigation systems, and collaborated closely with water and agricultural teams at the World Bank. Currently, Anna-Marie leads the FRAME consortium that provides the open access satellite-based data in the FAO WaPOR database for monitoring of and reporting on agricultural water productivity over Africa and the Near East.
Our third jury member is Gregory Giuliani, who is the head of Digital Earth Unit and a Swiss Data Cube project leader at GRID Geneva of the United Nations Environment Programme. And he is a senior lecturer at the University of Geneva's Institute for Environmental Sciences. He holds a bachelor in earth sciences and a master and a PhD in environmental sciences. Gregory's research focuses on the land change science and how Earth observation can be used to monitor and assess environmental changes and support sustainable development. Interdisciplinary is a key element for generating new ideas and innovations in his research.
Our fourth jury member is Domitille Vallée, a Chief Technical Advisor for the Food and Agriculture Organization, Regional Office for Near East and North Africa. She is an agricultural specialist with a specialization in environmental impact assessment, rural engineering, and water resources management. With 25 years of experience, she worked in different regions of the world on environmental performance, agricultural water management, and water assessment. For the last 15 years, she has focused more specifically on participatory land and water management for agriculture. Currently, she coordinates a regional project on water sustainability and agriculture in the NENA region that uses water accounting to inform decisions and sustainable development strategies.
And our fifth and final jury member is Stefan Dietrich. Stefan is trained as a geoscientist, and his scope of duties at the ICWRGC covers the coordination of the Global Terrestrial Network Hydrology, being the contact person of UNESCO Friend Water, and to develop hydrological data products. His research covers the analysis of hydrological variability across time and space, focusing on interclimate variability and climate change and fluvial sediment transport.
So those are our official jury members, but you also get to vote too. So we like to put together your votes for the fan favorite. And during the break, we'll provide you a website where you can vote for your favorite pitch of the day. Now, let's get started. First up, we have Team 1. So their team name is the Unique Mappers Team. They wanted to tackle challenges with communication to smallholders. So this team is made up of people, I think, almost exclusively from Nigeria, although I see we have a colleague from Hong Kong. And they're also a group that joined as a team. So I think they have experience working together. And we're very excited to see what they come up with.
Up next is Team 2. Together, they speak 8 languages, ranging from English and Arabic to Xhosa and Chichewa. They are taking part from 4 different countries. Their team together has 2 cats, and they all know each other because they come from the VUB in Brussels. They will work together as the Hydro VUB team on big data analysis for river basin management.
An additional 2.3 billion mouths to feed by 2050. More crop per drop is the only solution. WaPOR has the ingredients to tackle this problem. However, it lacks the ease of use researchers, modelers, and water resource managers need to obtain the data and provide necessary information to stakeholders. What if you could access WaPOR data within QGIS? If visualization was made simple through a traffic light-based system? If evaluation using your own data was made possible? Our solution will certainly save you time and money and lead to improved water productivity maps and thus more efficient use of our water resources. With some familiarity in QGIS, this plugin will be a user-friendly tool to access and use WaPOR data. We want to use it. We know you do too.
Up next, we have Team 3 with the team name of the Floodies. So they wanted to tackle challenges within remote sensing for environmental issues. Now, most of this team comes from Italy, so maybe they all know each other, but we also have a few other people from South America. So we have Peru and Colombia as well. So a nice Latin group that we have together. Together, they claim that they are all technology addicts and they like to do new things in team building.
Every year, floods kill people, devastate crops, causing hunger in developing countries. Flood is the first web application able to estimate and locate crop production at flood risk or already lost for recent past flood events. All it needs is freely available satellite-derived dataset, from the WaPOR portal to estimate water productivity and lake classes, from the large-scale floodplain maps, flood maps of past flood events, or forecasted flooded areas. All these data are manipulated in Python environment to estimate water productivity and crop production lost. Everyone working on regional planning related to food security and disaster response can potentially have benefits from flood. No advanced technical skill required, just navigate map and pick the region of interest. Flood fills the gap left by data portals focusing on flood and food security, creating a linkage between them. Save food with Flood.
Our next team is Team RIWEM. They're from Iran. They graduated from the same master's program and now all work together at the same research institute. So they know each other well. None of them has pets, but they all would rather live without heat or air conditioning than without social media. Together, they speak 3 languages.
Hi all, our idea is to map historical trade-off between agriculture and ecosystem. In Iran, agriculture sector is responsible for 90% of water consumption. Despite decreasing water availability, irrigated agriculture production and area continuously increased, and the environmental impacts could be observed in wetlands. To be more specific, we are going to analyze this over Lake Urmia. The unsustainable use of water has introduced serious environmental challenges in this region. In this situation, decision makers have different choices, but really who's right? Here we see the way we have gone to increase agriculture revenue, and also the restoration pass. We could not lose all our agriculture revenue. Here is where WaPOR could help us. We use different layers of WaPOR to calculate agriculture revenue that could be compared with environmental water indicators like lake water level and so on. An infographic of desired protocol is shown for driving revenue. And finally, we can have a decision in which agriculture and environment sector are in a balance.
So next up, we have Team 7. Their team name is Nile++. Each of these team members comes from Egypt, and actually they're all from Cairo University. And one of these team members is extra competitive. One of his reasons to join was, I hate it when my team is outperformed, so this hackathon appeals to me, to the competitive side of me. So I hope you win, and really your competitive side wins against everyone else. Good luck.
Most farmers apply traditional methods instead of engineering methods in selection of crops and irrigation schemes, which reduces productivity and increases water consumption. So, we aim to enhance the agricultural knowledge by providing a mobile app that can be used by farmers, landowners, and students in 2 different modes. In the normal mode, depending on user-defined location, the app will retrieve the required data from WaPOR and other datasets. Then the decision support system will use this data to give the user the optimum crop type, irrigation scheme, water consumption, and expected yield. Later, feedback from the farmer would be used to enhance the decision support system. While in gaming mode, the user can simulate their farm with real-life conditions and is scored according to productivity and water consumption. The used datasets for the decision support system are the WaPOR datasets of 250 meter resolution to obtain the reference ET and precipitation. Additionally, other datasets for climate, soil, water availability, and topography are available from other sources.
So our next team is Team 14, and it's the first team that we see this morning that has been formed during the hackathon. The team members range from all over the world: Nigeria, India, Ethiopia, Tunisia, and Germany. And this team has really a winners mentality. They want to win. They are working together on big data for water management, and their names gives already a little bit away what their application is about, showing irrigation efficiency status by phone. Let's see what they have.
When farmers see their crops in poor health, their first thought is to add more water through irrigation, sometimes even more than needed. While other factors affect crop health, farmers usually don't know the right amount of water to apply to their farms, so they over or under irrigate, consequently reduce productivity of their crops. Our concept targets medium to large scale farmers with 1 hectare size and above. Without assuming their computer or technical literacy, we provide a user-friendly mobile platform. We use the open source and computing power of Google Earth Engine to process big data while collecting input from our users as simple USSD codes and SMS as output. We get data on crop development and water consumed from the WaPOR database, combined with other datasets to deliver information on crop health and irrigation status when compared with amount of water required. Our approach is simple. You dial a code or share a picture while on your farm. From these, we know your location and crop type, then deliver results as SMS in your language. We can also deliver maps to identify specific locations requiring more or less water. We simply exploit available mobile technology and farmers' knowledge without them connecting to the internet.
Up next is Team 17, and they have the name WaP Plugin Development Team. I like it. They are coming from all over the world, so they have team members from Tunisia, from Colombia, Sudan, Zambia, and Egypt. And they also live in many countries where the temperatures are quite high, but all these team members would rather live without heat and AC than without social media. So good luck, Team 17.
There are over 1 million QGIS users around the world. This being an open source software, it can be used to support water management decision making. The water experts need data to compute water quantity and quality to comply with the agricultural needs. Unfortunately, the water resource data is stored by public and private institutions, which usually makes the information difficult to access. For this reason, a QGIS plugin is proposed. The users of the plugin will be water management institutions, large-scale irrigation managers, among others. The new idea of developing a water accounting and productivity plugin for QGIS software will help water management users to provide an interface for calculating water accounting indicators based on WaPOR datasets. These indicators will support users by generating maps and reports for further assessment and evaluation, making the water accounting computations by water professionals simple and easy to use. Also, the plugin will provide easy access to all the WaPOR catalog and let them include it in the QGIS canvas as a raster layer, providing versatility to the plugin, in which users can ensure the usage and processing of WaPOR data anywhere in the world.
Our next team has the name Mindset, which I really like. And they have been working across different time zones with team members from Australia and India and Nigeria. Together, they speak at least 5 languages, and in contrast to the previous team, they would rather be without social media than without heat or AC. They like their comfort. They had in common that they wanted to learn things from each other. Let's see what they have.
Hi there. Do you know that smallholder farmers can achieve a lot more with food production if they had access to relevant information on their mobile phones at little or no cost? I hereby present to you FarmCom Plus, an easy-to-use mobile application that seeks to provide smallholder farmers, extension agents, and agricultural policymakers with irrigation and weather advisories for an improved and sustainable agricultural production in their local languages. FarmCom Plus, fitted with a feedback mechanism, utilizes data from WaPOR, farmer demographics, and climate scenarios to generate information on achieving a holistic agricultural production phase, especially where water is a limiting factor.
And here is Team 25. Their team name is AgriLock, and the theme they're working on is Big Data for Water Management. So this team has 3 team members, 2 from Egypt and 1 from Palestine. They speak 2 languages, English and Arabic, and each team member has something in common. They want to win. So they are also hardworking, ambitious, polite, proactive, and self-learning. Let's see how they do.
Blue Space is the project to treat water without any needs for chemicals or electricity, to remove contaminants like nitrate and salinity by green methods. This method is the first in the world. We remove contaminant to provide clean water for each home and for irrigation. The challenge which we are trying to solve it, living in our worlds.
The next team are the co-developers. Together, they've been working on an application for big data in water management. They have several things in common, these team members. First of all, they worry about the environment. Also, food security, water security, and decreasing the poverty of farmers, as well as dealing with challenges where things they all could find each other in. Let's see what they have made in this last week.
Hello. The problem we solve. WaPOR models are often not calibrated to local conditions because they lack ground truth data. Consequently, the interpretation of these models may not be much better than a guess. Our innovation is to gather ground truth data using existing and deployed data collection systems, save the data in a well-defined, harmonized format to a widely accessible place so it can be used to enhance WaPOR data and models by scientists. Initially, we want to design and test with only one data collection system deployed and managed by our team member. In doing so, we take the first steps towards emerging internet standards designed for collaborative data provenance scenarios. There is no new training required. The benefits are more accurate models for local decision makers and farmers, also perhaps a chance for dialogue to develop. Thank you.
They come from a few different countries around Africa: Algeria, Egypt, Sudan, and Somalia. And they speak two languages, English and Arabic. And again, they are all very competitive. They all want to win. The things they have in common are motivation, teamwork, creativity, leadership, and ethics. Let's see what they came up with.
Hi everyone, Shaima Saeed, team leader of 28 team. Our challenge is save water to save life via water management for agricultural land. Due to many problems, changing climate, water shortage, high temperature, and the industrial and the pollution. Our solution هو GoGel app, artificial neural network for responsible irrigation. These products, the audience, my audience, farmers, and the agriculture investors. Strategy plan والworkshops والwebsites والflyer والsocial media, and how to communicate with the farmer via السوشيال media, الexpo, workshop, sales, go join society. Use the data from water productivity data to artificial and to artificial to GoGel, and how to reach to farmers. Thank you.
Our next team is one of the few teams that has been working on monitoring the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the SDG 6.4. Team 26, as well as many others here, really their goal to win. It's been mentioning several times by them. Besides that, wanting to win, they also have in common water management, mapping, crop water use, and database administration.
Hi, data collection is a minefield of errors. The demand for implementing effective and efficient validation methods has increased in order to ensure data quality in all processing phases. Too much time are wasted from businesses' revenue due to poor data quality. Data collection remains ultimately the responsibility of each country. FAO is working to ensure the strongest consistency of data provided. To reduce errors and ensure the output is coherent, we turn to data validation. Our technology Data Hub tool will use available WaPOR data components from meteorological, hydrological, spatial data layer, satellite images in conjunction with standardized metadata to generate information about major flows and fluxes and determining water availability and withdrawals. The app is mainly for FAO experts who work under the UN water umbrella. In short, errors are inevitable. So my question to you, how can we deal with them? We turn to data validation. Thank you.
And now it's time for Team 30. Their team name is Gaming for Crops, and the theme they are working on is communications to smallholders. They come from Spain, Italy, Bangladesh, the Netherlands, and India. Between them, they speak 4 languages: English, Arabic, Spanish, and Italian. None of them have pets, but they all have big goals: to learn, to win, and to change the world. Good luck, Team 30.
We allocate water as flow. We can make better use of available water. We make our farmers all demand water at the same time. We have to rethink the rhythm and pulse of water demand. That's why we present you with the Drop Diversification app, an app that will promote a more equal and more sustainable way of using scarce water. Consider drop selection by individual farmers. In a particular cropping season, all farmers select the same optimum crop. Water demand of all these crops will coincide. Farmers compete for water at the same time. Drop diversification will help farmers coordinate their crop choice with their neighbors, therefore promoting crop diversification through drop diversification. We want the farmers to communicate with each other and the system through a game-like interface. The WaPOR database stores user information on local situation, analyzes historical overviews and forecasts. The system thus can help coordinate crop choice that leads to diversified crops. A variety of crops will reduce water demand of scarce water. Not all crops demand water at the same time. As a pilot, we choose Syria. Syria needs help to get back on its feet again. WaPOR does not currently work in Syria, but our approach could help Syrian communities to become connected. And Syria provides a significant example of trans-regional and trans-boundary issues. Drop diversification, a new dimension to coordinate farming in local communities.
Up next is Team 31. They are working on the theme Remote Sensing for Environmental Issues. They all want to be an astronaut and want to explore new places. One of the things they have in common is an interest in technology and a common background in water engineering. They are enthusiastic about learning new things, problem solving, and highly motivated and passionate about meeting the Sustainable Development Goals. Let's see what you have made.
Hi. What choices do you make on a daily basis? Perhaps what to eat, wear, or buy? What about a farmer? What decisions does he make to deal with an ongoing cycle of poverty? And perhaps an investment company who deals with the pressure of attaining global standards in the competitive environment? As climate change threatens the food security of many developing countries, we aim to increase the scope and importance of agricultural insurance to protect farmers and reduce poverty. Insurance companies and microfinancers often lack accurate seasonal crop monitoring tools and reliable datasets to provide good protection to smallholder farmers against natural risk. To tackle this, we present to you Drift, a decision support tool that integrates real-time agroclimatic remote sensing WaPOR products coupled with your farmer database information to provide an easy-to-use interface with outputs customized for informed decision-making. Our insurance analytics team estimates your risk factor and addresses challenges that you're often faced with. And hey, that provides relief to farmers too. So get Drift. Take better risks.
The final team today is team number 36. So their team name was Grazing Guide, and the theme they were working towards is communication to smallholders. So we have people from all over, again from the Netherlands, the Gambia, Germany, and Tanzania. They're all interested in applications. Something they have in common is that English is their second language. They are all extroverts and they're big foodies. And most importantly, their goal is to get advice on which type of cat they should adopt from their teammate Katrin.
Welcome to Grazing Guide, an application to support pastoralist decision-making. With mounting competition, theft of grazable land, increased climate variability, and degradation of resources, pastoralists find their livelihoods uniquely exposed. Grazing Guide strives to contribute to local coping mechanisms and provide accurate information on grazable lands. By doing so, we hope to minimize the gap between the technology and at-risk populations without replacing local knowledge. To achieve this knowledge transfer, the application uses a middleman approach, who will act as cultural broker between the pastoralists and the webpage. This person needs to be able to translate the webpage into the local culture. To derive the grazable land area, the app will use the continental WaPOR datasets on net primary production, land cover classification, and decadal precipitation. It also includes layers of citizen size, NPDI data from Sentinel-2, weather forecasts, and territorial maps. Rural resource-dependent communities have historically coped with climatic fluctuations, and any chance for a sustainable solution must respect this. This is where our application sets itself apart, through co-creation and empathetic design. Thank you.
Wow, this was it. It's all done. Thank you so much, all the teams that have put in all the hard work and putting together these great pitches. It was really nice and interesting to see, and you've done so many so much in this week. I think the jury members will have a very hard time deciding the best of the 4 teams. And while we give the jury members some time to make their final decisions, we have brought together some great speakers for you. So first, we put together a panel of our hackathon experts to talk about what to do with your app idea once this hackathon is over. Regardless of the final outcome of today, you all have worked very hard into creating these innovative ideas, and I think you've all also been inspired by what you've seen today. And all these ideas that you've worked on and put this effort in, they could be turned into something much more than just a concept.
I agree. And we put this panel together of our different experts, but they all live in different time zones. So we have pre-recorded the panel discussion for you and would like to share it with you now. After the panel, we'll have a short break until 10 a.m. Central Eastern Time, when we'll come back with our second speaker, Job Klein, an international water and diplomacy expert, who will talk about his inspiration for WaPOR and his vision for the future. During the break, we'll provide you with a website to vote for your favorite pitch, so be sure to vote while you grab something to eat and stretch your legs. We hope you enjoy the panel and see you after the break.
Okay, welcome hackers. Congratulations on completing the first week of the hackathon and submitting your video pitches and murals. And now you may be wondering what happens next. You have a great idea and you want to keep working on it, but you're not sure how to turn your app into something greater. Well, we are all here to help. We've gathered some of our hackathon experts to talk about how they turn their own great ideas into successful apps while also building their own businesses or nonprofits. So first, I would like to introduce myself. Again, I'm Lauren Zielinski. I work for IHE Delft in their water productivity and water accounting group, and I'll be moderating today's panel. And then I would like each of our panel members to introduce themselves. So let's start with Nick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Canifax. I'm the former managing director for a frontier technology accelerator down in Silicon Valley. I'm also the co-founder of a small investment firm called River Ecosystem, where we fund, finance, and find other opportunities for successful technology or frontier technology applications.
Great, it's a pleasure to have you here, Nick. Saber, you'll go next.
Hello to all. My name is Saber Razmanjui. I am a director at Lutra Consulting. We are primarily a co-developer of QGIS desktop application, which you have probably come across. And we also have a spin-off of QGIS called Input app, which is for mobile devices for collecting data. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions about challenges of how to bring application to users.
Great, thank you for joining us. And next we have Annelies.
Hi everyone, I'm Annalise Kays. I'm the Executive Director for Plant Village based out of Pennsylvania State University. My background is in biological engineering, specifically focusing in food security and processing. And so part of our main applications include Plant Village Nuru, which you've probably heard of through our introduction video. But we have some other applications we built for FAO specifically, including FAMOUS, Suzahamra, Elocus3M, and then another application we built with in collaboration with the Government of India and IIT Mandi called Farmer Zone. So I'm happy to talk about how we've come to build those ideas and get them out to the users.
Great, thank you for being here with us. And last but not least, we have Mark.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Mark de Blois. I'm the CEO and founder of Upande Limited, a Kenya-based ICT firm that's been around for more than 10 years now. We are a consulting company, but also do software development. And we build a lot using open source technology. We have been part of setting up a whole series of open geo portals for sharing spatial data on the continent here in Africa. And we also offer that as a service to some of our customers, like water companies, but also we integrate spatial data into apps that we're building also for the agricultural applications. And happy to be part of this and to share some of our lessons yeah, hopefully give some inspiration for your teams. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mark. I would like to thank everyone for being here. I know we're all in different time zones and we have different activities happening. So I know our participants also appreciate having you here as well. So I would like to start with Annalise. I know many of our participants come from a research background or a university. So it's quite interesting how you are building apps and hosting them through Pennsylvania State University. Would you like to talk a bit about how you host and operate your apps?
Yeah, absolutely. So our applications are hosted in the Google Play Store as for Android devices. But specifically how we've come out of a university is our founder, Dr. David Hughes, in his earlier life did entomology, worked in entomology, and specifically was coming out of a long project working in rainforests in Ghana, and encountered and worked with some of these smallholder farmers in Ghana, and then came back from that trip recognizing that there are a lot of challenges with smallholder farmers facing climate change. And so from that idea, we've kind of built out of this, this group where we gather experts from other academia, and mainly building up this pipeline of students going from undergraduates into their expertise to then help smallholder farmers deal with climate change adaptation. So we've kind of built up the resources at the university in terms of techniques, and then we have a software development group that we have all of the app development built on, and then we work on the side of then delivering it to the smallholder farmers. Right now we're working mainly in Western Kenya, but we have a few collaborations dealing in West Africa, and then some with FAO in Zambia and Malawi.
Oh, very nice. I also like your use of helping students and having them build their own capacity, but it also helps you manage and upgrade your own app to get field data as well. And now I think we'll switch to the private side. So Mark, would you like to make some comments on how you run your own company and different ways that you host and operate your apps?
Certainly. For our own customers, for example, in the water space. So we started off by hosting these applications in our internal office using virtual machines and giving remote access to our customers. But of course, the whole infrastructure of maintaining machines and things like that and having uptime can be quite challenging. So with the cost of hosting online also coming down, we have started migrating to Amazon, for example. At the moment, we also see that costs are going down. There's other players coming up. So right now we've actually moved to a lot of the applications to DigitalOcean, and we see that the cost of hosting is really coming down a lot. And yeah, cloning machines and things like that becomes quite easy. So the maintenance part also of some of these machines is becoming less and less complex. We do also develop several apps that for end users that we also push through the Play Store and also through Apple Store as well. And yeah, basically we deploy software as a service. We also look for partners always. For example, when it comes to the applications for in the agricultural space, we are big users of an open source ERP system, which has been developed out of India. So we've partnered with the organization developing that, so that we can bring customers also to their platform, that we don't have to carry too much efforts to actually host. We can focus on the customization and the service around it, and let other people do the things that they can do very well and affordably, and take away that hassle from us. So that's how we've been navigating this space. And yeah, we have to sort of go with where the movement is happening. So as much as we are doing this like this year, next year, you never know, things could be quite different again.
Yeah, nice comments on flexibility and adapting with the times, especially in technology. Things move very fast. And you also made a nice comment about funding and how it takes money to run these things, even if they are open source apps. So Nick, do you have some advice for people who maybe don't want to make a business out of it, but there are different types of funding sources available to develop and operate these apps?
Absolutely. So my advice for someone who doesn't want to bring it to the commercial stage, there are a number of they're called 501c public charity clean tech accelerators that are willing to put a number of $100,000 to probably $200,000 into an application to see how far it can grow. And these are first and foremost technology accelerators and not venture funds, but they are willing to. And it's different than grant money in the sense that it's I would say probably less strings attached. Because they want to see the users in the commercial application come out very, very quickly. But if you wanted to go on the commercial route, then there are a number of accelerator or financing options as well that are not public charity or clean tech.
Nice. It's nice to know that there's options for people who are interested in different things.
One I will say is the Clean Tech Energy Trust out of Chicago, Illinois is probably the best one I looked into.
Yeah, very nice. And I think we can post some of this information on the hackathon platform so people can access it. Yeah, and then now actually I would like to ask a question to Saber. You run a lot of apps and plugins around QGIS, which is an open source software. So how do you finance your own company and improving and developing your apps?
For financing, we usually run crowdfunding for larger tasks. Like at the moment, we are looking at implementing point cloud support in QGIS. So we have run a crowdfunding and gathered money across the whole world from different organizations. Alternatively, we finance the apps or plugins get financed by private companies, and in some cases we do it as a part of our research and development, and we just want to play around with some technology and come up with something nice, so we publish it for wider open source community to play around with.
Ah, very nice. It's nice that open source communities have people who are just interested to volunteer their time, which helps, but it's also important to know that there's a community who wants to fund those people as well. And Annalise, how do you fund your application through Pennsylvania State University?
Yep, so Plant Village is a public good, and so all of our funding comes through grants and philanthropies. Typically, it's either through funding from FAO for the various projects we collaborate on. We also get grants through CGIAR and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but some key funding we also receive is not directly in the terms of economical funding, but through the university, they have a lot of licenses with other big software that is key for us. So with Amazon Web Services and various Microsoft services, that's been incredibly helpful for us too.
Nice. So you can utilize both the public connections to you, but then also the university connections that they have through their network. And I think it shows the importance of being resourceful when you want to turn your app into something greater to take it to the next level. So a few more questions and then I think we'll wrap up. So something important when you take your app from an idea into, let's say, a business or nonprofit is you have to build a great team around you. So Mark, would you like to make a comment about what kind of team you have at your company?
Yes, certainly. So we actually have quite a few team members who have actually gotten through hackathons. So we participate in hackathons ourselves, and the great thing is that you find people that are very passionate. They are actually sharing their ideas and their time, working on something without knowing what's going to come out of it. And then those are people that are self-motivated, and actually that's very inspiring for us. So it's also a great community for us to even look to see how we can grow our team. So we have people, of course, you need to cover your bases in terms of the skill set that you need to challenge the idea that you have. And yeah, ideally, of course, people who know the context as well, or maybe who know some people in some of the organizations that you're also looking to target. So, but in the end, I think it's self-driven people that we're really looking for. In our case, especially with ideas like hackathons, the more ideas that can come from a broad range of people that each play their part, of course, is very valuable. So finding a good match there. So when it comes to our team, we have software developers on the mapping side. We have a few GIS experts because we do a lot of spatial applications. We have also software developers who are good at things like Python and Java, but also end user people who can work on the user experience. It's quite easy to technically hack together something that is just very awesome, but in the end, how does it relate to the user's needs? And that's also often something that we've overlooked in the past. And if the intuitiveness of the interface is not really there, we're not really exactly solving somebody's problem, then it's so easy to develop great things that actually don't really end up getting used. And that's, of course, a great shame. So people who understand the UI, UX experience and who really like spending time with people just to hear them out and stuff, who are, in that sense, also very people-centered. It's also good to have those people in your team.
Nice, very nice explanation. And I know we talk about stakeholder engagement a lot when we work in the world of water. So the same thing applies in the world of apps as well. And Nick, you've worked for an accelerator before, and you've seen many teams come and go. What are some key features to a successful team?
So I'd say that when it comes to the first formation of your team, you want to find like the yin and the yang. If you're a highly technical person and have a lot of those skills, you want to find someone that completes the circle and complements the things that you don't have. So the best teams we see aren't necessarily the two technical founders that are starting something, but the technical and the soft skill founder that are starting something. And it's much harder to find a technical founder than it is a soft skills founder. So we have an easier time putting the technical founder with someone that has soft skills. But the next thing after you have that 2 or 3 person team forming, the next advice that I give my founders is they need to get someone on their advisory board that's in the industry that they're trying to attack. Because if you can't convince someone that you have a great idea that's in an industry that you're trying to go into, then you're not communicating something right. You're not communicating effectively.
Okay, you hear me now, right? So welcome back, everyone. I hope you got a nice break, you got your coffee, and you're ready for the second part of our live session today. So before I want to introduce you to our next speaker, Klein, we would also really like to see the results of the Mentimeter showing your fan favorite. So let's go there. Lauren, can you open the results? Ooh, this is very close. So team 2 has 17%. We have like a shared 2, 3rd, 4th place with team 2, team 17, and team 26, with all of them having 17% of the votes. But team 7 is the fan favorite winner with 19%. So congratulations, guys. And up next, I have the honor to introducing our next speaker, which we saw already a little bit from just now, Klein. He is a former diplomat in water diplomacy affairs for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands and the first secretary of the Netherlands embassy in Sana'a in Yemen. This was the time when he was working in Yemen that he initiated with the FAO the open source tool WaPOR to manage water. At the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, coordinated with water affairs in the MENA region, was the EU representative for water and agriculture for the European Commission in the Committee on World Food Security. At the Netherlands Embassy in Sana'a, he was responsible for the private sector, environmental and water agriculture.
Okay, we start. I hope everybody is still there. Exciting hours for you. And really, it was, I saw the 1 hour before, and it was really a lot of great pitches. What a result. And for that, I applaud all of you. It's really inspiring for me to be here and a bunch of professional startups, IT hackers, you're all here. I start off by two things. Winning or close to winning. By being here, you are ready. You have shown the right spirit and the right attitude. Great people you are all here. Passion, that's what I noticed. You're here in the right place and at the right time. Why I say this? You have a whole life, humanly speaking, in front of you. And now already you have the passion. And we share this passion. From the pitches, the right attitudes are clear. It's passion, focus, and push. And all these propositions make you the people you are. Enough. I start with the birth of WaPOR. The concept of WaPOR started when I was a diplomat posted at the embassy in Yemen in 2008, responsible for the Netherlands parts of the bilateral program, of which water was a major component. 40 years ago, in 78 was that, Netherlands started with the cooperation to map the water resources in Yemen. This was as a ministry and the university. Before the 60s, the country was still headed by an imam running the country. At that time, there was simply no lack of water because water was only used for subsistence farming at that time and for 5 million people only. In the 70s in Yemen, as elsewhere in the world, new technologies of drilling were introduced. And this resulted in using water for cash crops instead of the basic subsistence farming. And water was not an issue at that time. People believed that the underground consisted of rivers. And it is hard to understand, but a lot of people still today believe in this. Well, we all know better now. Water demand is increasing and the water quality remains the same. The water cycle does not give us one drop extra. The drop of the past is the drop of today. And as I mentioned, also the population growth became a dominant factor. And also the impact on water availability. In Yemen, for example, in the 60s, we only had 5 million people. In 85, 10, and in 2013, 25 million. And the projections are for 2030 about 40 million. Now, just for our mindset, are you aware that between 1900 and 2000, in a period of only 100 years, the increase in the world population was 3 times greater than the entire previous history of mankind, say about 300,000 years. And the world went from 1.5 to 6.1 billion in only 100 years. Well, I jumped to my posting in Yemen in 2010. I was confronted with 2 staggering facts. 1, that the access of people to water was getting less despite all the funding and the projects. This was against the worldwide trend that access to water was actually improving. The second one was that the water table kept on dropping. In certain places, you can see up to 7 meters. Now, my challenge at that time was to find a balance between the input and the output, as this only justifies the donor funding. How much investment or finance was needed to achieve a sustainable water resources? How much funding was needed to stop the decrease of the water table? Were there any relationships? Or was it something else than just the euros and the dollars? Well, sitting at the embassy, struggling with these questions, a Dutch professor, an expert in remote sensing, asked for a meeting. Wim Bastiaans, who just conducted a World Bank study in Yemen using remote sensing. And he told me that by using remote sensing, he could quantify the water use, and more importantly, he showed me that the water in Yemen in agriculture was very inefficiently used. In fact, he mentioned, compared to similar countries in the same climatic zone, that even 3 times more water was needed for crop production. And that was a valuable eye-opener for me. Of course, I took this up with the Ministry of Water, and they were not impressed. They took the training materials from the desk drawers, and they said that the training they did was okay, but they did not trust satellite data. Which, by the way, at a later stage, when showing the results again, they were convinced. Anyway, realizing that agriculture with 90% was the largest user of water, we teamed up with FAO as the UN mandated food organization. We also realized that our dilemma of financing this bottomless pit needed a different level of discussion. Instead of the Ministry of Water and Ministry of Agriculture, with the political level. So we arranged through the UN an appointment with the parliamentarians. Now, I remember still the Speaker of the Parliament who responded, "How would I know we misuse water? And you as a bilateral donor tell us this." And of course he was right. Why had there never been a debate on water at political level? Why SDGs and declining water access had never been on the agenda? Well, the result of discussions with the Speaker was positive indeed. We came to an understanding that FAO and the Netherlands would start a database monitoring the water use. For this to use satellite data, and indeed, as I mentioned, we would develop a public available open source database. Of course, at the first instance, when I discussed with the ministries, they were very reluctant to accept the new database. In fact, this was a silent revolution. Up till now, they were the owners of the data, and data is power. Now, I also want to show you an analysis of Professor Mark Zaitoun about this power, which I also got at the same time. And he did an analysis of the power and the influence in the water agriculture sector. And it is useful to get an understanding of all the parties in the domain. It proves again, water is not technical. Water is politics. An example of water is a hidden domain owned by powerful, often silent parties. Just note that this is not typical for Yemen, but it happens in many more countries. The purpose of the open data portal was exactly this, to open the water domain, make data available for citizens and representatives. Let me give you one more example. A town was well equipped with Dutch funds, with all water facilities to supply 24/7 water for the urban population. And after some years in 2010, I received a new request for financial assistance, since the town had now only a few hours per week. Why? Was this, as it is always used, a lack of maintenance? No. Then why financing again? Clear reason of the lack of water was the expansion of agriculture. The water withdrawals were simply too huge to leave sufficient water for the population domestic need. Not a matter of finance. The extra wells requested for will never be a long-term sustainable solution. Now, this slide of Zaitoun was for me an extra motivation to focus even more on the open data. Not only for this urban example, think also of river basins. Not for that functions water is used and whether the water is used in an efficient manner. Here I show you the slide of which also was very impressive for me, the slide between Pakistan and India, where really by measuring the water productivity, you can even read the border. Looking to the slide of the Nile Basin, seeing the difference between the rainfall and the evapotranspiration. Well, unfortunately, in Yemen in 2013, because of the security reasons, all embassy staff was evacuated. We dismantled all computers and we left an empty building behind. This was also the end of our ambitious initiative of a public, accessible, open source database. However, after this Yemen experience, for me, the notion or concept of public data was a case to fight for. Water as a global good, not owned by a specific group or persons, as a scarce resource available for the benefits of the full population. My aim was, in the public domain, to make water data public, accessible by using satellite data. In particular, in my role developing policies, now I realize the knowledge gap we always had. And now innovation of remote sensing gave us this tool. If you're not aware, you don't miss it. When all people use the old Nokia just to make calls before the smartphone, the iPhone, you don't miss the smartphone. It's only having the smartphone you realize all opportunities you did not have before. Well, back in the headquarters in The Hague, for me, the selling of the concept, or promotion, as you may call it, started. The selling arguments for me were clear. From a development concept, countries need evidence-based data to monitor their water use for the long-term planning. How you decide on allocation of water, equitability. Is water for domestic more important than agriculture? It's social against economic good. What about jobs and income of all the ones working in agriculture? And finally, of course, is diversification of the economy an option? All questions that need evidence-based data. On top, we need experts, startups who provide the data, make applications to provide the right data, make policymakers aware of the relevance of evidence-based data. Now, during the discussion at the ministry, others were right in saying, Job, there are so many important projects ongoing in this field. And they were right. But what I noticed, this was all done on a project basis. There is a beginning and there is an end. Now, what is urgently needed for the sector, including for the SDGs, as I saw also in the pitches, is basic data on a permanent basis. In short, I had 4 aims. For countries having data that assist in decision-making on mid- and long-term development. For farmers and farmers' users associations to monitor the pros and cons of agriculture practices in line with available sustainable water resources. And for awareness, data for the general public, NGOs, politicians, all to be partners in the policy process. For journalists to be able to have an open source. And for private sector, for example, as was also mentioned in the pitches, for example, to help farmers through insurances. Finally, for me personally, the aim was to have open data, just that would trigger startups to use the data. Exactly what is happening here today. Now, the result is known. As the Dutch ministry, as the first country worldwide, we approved in 2015 to finance the FAO in Rome to develop WaPOR. They had a wonderful team in Rome, and we did the whole thing all by the private sector and universities. We used open tender procedures, and in the meantime, as already is happening today, the second finance by the Dutch for the FAO is under preparation. Now, the guiding principles still remain. Having a UN organization and not, for example, a Dutch database. No restrictions, open for all, no country or company stamp, open source, all talking the same language. Second, is data in such a way that the data is basic and leaves room for startups and private sector to make local applications, exactly what is happening today. And we started off to cover 2 continents, data of MENA and Africa on a continuous, near real-time basis. Not a project with a beginning and an end, but a monitoring system always available. Independent verification throughout. And the data we started in an average year, 2009. And that was in order for countries to make trends and to analyze the trends. Well, in addition, finally, we also started to start off with the PIP, exactly for the reasons that is shown today. And I'm very happy, in fact, that that was a success. So at that time, also the first hackathon in Egypt was started. Now, finally, see WaPOR as a trigger. See it as a basket, as I see it, for different foods. Take what you need to serve your taste. Or as a 3D printer. I'm always impressed by 3D printers. You choose the ingredients and your innovation will start from there. Create snacks, exclusive dishes, or complete gardens. And for the diehards, you can even take your farm home. What I've seen today is you did it. Now, in fact, in the introduction, you also said about the vision. In fact, and my vision, in fact, is that WaPOR is used for ways that we cannot imagine today. That it stimulates people, in fact, to think in creative way and to change the world of water and food. To end, with all the enthusiasms I've seen today in the pitches, I'm sure that you will shape the future, and certainly you will be the new leaders in the room. And I'm sure with your innovations to see you on CNN News with your applications very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Job. What a really nice presentation. I think sometimes we just engage with the platform. So it's really nice to see where the idea started, where the motivations came from, and kind of follow the story from idea to reality. So it's also nice to know that we're part of your story and your grand vision. So taking this data and getting creative and making new apps and new ideas and using it in ways that maybe you and your colleagues never thought of when this first started.
Exactly. Great. I'm very happy.
It's really nice to have you here. We have posted in the YouTube chat a few questions. So we'll get to those. In the meantime, I would like to ask the jury members to come back. So we'll have our colleague Simon collect them and ask them to come into the room so then we can announce the winner. But one of the questions from the chat that we have for you is about standards for validation of the WaPOR data. So how do we know what steps have been taken to ensure that we can, to some degree of certainty, trust the data from WaPOR?
Well, the validation, of course, was for us very crucial, because people have to trust the data, and especially that was one of the reasons we took a UN database. In fact, is everybody should trust the United Nations if they have something on the screen. So, in fact, a lot of verification processes by scientific publications where people could react, all have been part of this whole process. That's why I showed one slide, in fact, with the documents where all the verifications are represented. And well, I can say a lot about it, but I think the best is to get through these documents. Just check the website and check these documents, and I think it's all clear. And definitely there are more types of not the same type of databases, but ways to come to the data, and that's all described in this one. And then always, I'm extremely happy that always the WaPOR comes out as the best. So you can trust the data.
Yeah, you are correct. If people want to find more technical information, there is a report that some of my colleagues at IHE worked on about validating the data, and there are a number of scientific publications that you could look at that compares the WaPOR data to other open source data sets with similar information.
Yep.
Yeah, and while we wait for the jury members to join, we have another question about how research institutes can participate in this process. You had mentioned that currently the WaPOR database for Africa and the Middle East, but we're in the process of expanding it to the rest of the world. So is there a role that research universities could play as part of this expansion?
Well, in fact, it's also in the hands of. I think that definitely they can, and it's that's why, in fact, it was also done on the. I mean, tendering, international tendering is a fact. I mean, you cannot escape. So I mean, it's FAO who, for the first part, had an international tender where institutions. I mean, it's always a consortium. It's never one organization. So for every phase, for every stage, that international tender is there. So it's just a matter of being aware what FAO is doing, and then be part of these procedures. And if it comes down to the national level, of course, I hope, in fact, also that institutions are involved together with startups. In WaPOR is only basic data. So really, if you have to make applications, you need experts, exactly what is happening today, and also institutions to continue with the data and to build on the data. So I think definitely for institutions and universities, there's a big role to play in using WaPOR data.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I think somebody else does too in the chat. They were asking, how can we facilitate the cooperation between some of these innovators and these public institutions? So not only research institutions, but also maybe governments or other types of public stakeholders.
Well, I think, I mean, if we just go into the second phase, there's a new phase coming. So I think it's useful for the institutions also. All the representatives, country representatives of the FAO are involved in this whole process. So really be aware what is happening in the country and see you link up either in the training part or in the developing part, but really be close to the FAO representatives, and you are aware of all the details and the process that is happening. So just keep in touch. I think that's the most important.
Yeah, that's great advice. I know that a lot of information is being made available on the most recent results through the FAO database, but through our partnership also at IHE Delft on our website, and our partners at Meta Meta and eLeaf and many other sources. So staying in touch and seeing when is this new data going to be rolled out, what's new kind of innovative uses of this data, we'll be posting through our different networks and our different projects.
Great. Yep.
Great. So now I think it's time to announce the winners. But
yes,
jury members I think are still deliberating.
Yes, I just called them and they need another 5 minutes. So, and I have another question. So I'm quickly, But so it's very excited. And Job, I want to thank you very much for your talk. And I think it's very great indeed to hear what it comes from, what the database has inspired you to create this database, and how it can be used in the future, hopefully, and not only for water productivity problems, but for a lot more things. So, yeah, 5 more minutes to wait.
Yeah, so maybe I'll talk about the next steps. So
that would be good
like
too.
I had mentioned before, we originally had the idea to have one winner per theme. But then some themes were more popular than others, and we decided, okay, let's give everyone a fair chance, and we'll put them together. So now we're just doing the top 4 teams. So this is what the jury members are currently discussing. But after we know who these 4 teams are, these teams will then have 2 more weeks to work on making a working prototype. So whether that's a QGIS plugin or a web map, now it's time to get into the details and start coding, working more with our experts. We have set up a system where you'll have dedicated time with an expert of your choice or experts of your choice, and they can help you through things like how do I get the data from these different data sources? How do I make a user interface? How do I incorporate my modeling results in with WaPOR data? Kind of these more technical questions that we all need to answer when building a prototype. And as part of that, after 2 weeks, we'll have another similar session to this, but all of these 4 finalists will give really detailed pitches. So instead of 1-minute pitches, it might be 10 or 15 minutes, where they have more time to really explain the details, explain how their invention, their app idea is impacting the world based on the challenge they selected, and what are the next steps. So how are they turning it into a operating and functioning app? Is it something that will be hosted through a university or a nonprofit? Is it something that they want to partner with a commercial business and provide it open access, but through different funding schemes? I think this was something that the panel touched upon. And I apologize for the technical difficulties before, but like we said, the panel is pre-recorded, so we will send you the link so you can watch that. And I think they come up with some really unique ideas and nice ideas for people that want to move to the next step. So yeah, and then in 2 weeks on December 8th, we'll have another similar session where the final winner is selected. And that final winner will win the prize money of 1,000 euros to help them keep working on their idea. So it's a very small seed money, but I think it'll help them get to the next step. And we'll also be working and advertising your winning idea through our different groups, our different organizations that are related to WaPOR and related to this hackathon. So that includes the FAO, that includes IHE and Meta and eLeaf. We can work through different organizations in our network to get your idea really promoted into the wider world, especially around the digital innovation idea that you have. And so those are for the winners, but we also want to say that if you aren't selected, it doesn't mean you don't have a good idea. I think, like you said, we were all very impressed with all the pitches that the team submitted, particularly in a short amount of time. I saw a lot of people using new software and having to learn new things, and we're very, very impressed. So really, congratulations to all the teams, no matter what happens at the end of today. And keep on going. Towards the end of that panel, one of the best pieces of advice was expect failure. So, as you go through this process, there'll be many moments when somebody says, no, I don't like that, for reasons that have nothing to do with how good your idea is. Maybe they have a different viewpoint or they're having a bad day, but it feels like a failure. But be sure to just learn from that experience and keep going and maybe refine your ideas a bit, and then keep working with new people and new ideas and creativity and keep it going. And I think that would be, also a goal of this project, of the WaPOR effort, but also this WaterPIP project. We really are encouraging people to take the initiative and make this their own. And then I think the final thing, maybe we have a few more minutes before the jury shows up, but we really enjoyed putting on this hackathon for you all. It was a lot of work and we learned a lot, and we know that there are things that went well and maybe things that didn't go well. So in the next few days, we'll be sending all the participants a feedback survey. And this is where you get to be very honest. We'll make it anonymous, but you can tell us how we did and things that you would change for the next round. Because I think moving forward, as WaPOR becomes more available throughout the world, would be interested to also have more similar events like this, where we can keep engaging people and be creative with using the WaPOR data in their own regions. So this feedback would be very helpful for us.
Yeah, and as Lauren said earlier, with the question in the chat on YouTube, like questions that you've had during the panel discussion or other things for the experts or the speakers, you can post them and we will post them in the expert forum. And then the next year, for the people who've participated, you can still enter in the platform and see those questions, like those answers back. So feel free to ask. And yeah, we hope you get the answer you are hoping for and that are useful for you. Yeah, and I think I'm really waiting.
And we'll keep the platform open until the end of the year. So we know there's a lot of really nice resources, some YouTube videos, some links to reports. It's all available online, but the hackathon platform is a nice central place that we put everything. So we'll keep that open to the end of the year, and you'll have access to that anytime you want. You know, maybe you want to take a break and then keep working on it in a few weeks, it'll still be there for you. So please check that out. And actually, Job, I think we have one more question from the chat. So if it's okay, we can ask you one more. This person is curious about the technical specs of the WaPOR database in the future. So like what areas is the WaPOR database going to cover and at what resolution? So I know now we have 3 different levels and 3 different resolutions, but as you get to more finer resolution, the fewer areas are available. So what are the plans for that, if you know?
I wish I knew, but I mean the point is I'm not an expert. You are the experts. I'm not. I mean, I only had the concept, and I know there's a lot of things going on now. Of course, with yeah, I should not mention all these terminologies, because if I mention something, then I may mention the wrong thing. But I mean, it's for me, it was the basic, and we had a lot of discussions at that also in Rome, that if you talk to experts, they want everything to be in the WaPOR. And the first intention for me was just to have basic data, especially for startups, that it is difficult for them. It may not be difficult, but that's what was the impression at that time, to really make use of satellite information. So you need a source where you can get the information directly, trusted data, and then in fact for you to, by using this data, to make applications relevant for your specific questions. And so the discussions in Rome at that time, evapotranspiration was something which was very clear. But if it comes to soil moisture, if you use soil moisture in order to calculate your ET, that is one thing. If you really want to focus on soil moisture only, these were things we debated, because according to me, it was not really, it was something to be done by experts in a later stage. But I may be wrong in that, but it was, I mean, I wanted WaPOR to have basic data and to give the opportunity to the private sector to make use of this data and to develop further on. So that was the whole basis of WaPOR. And the more discussions you had with experts, the more they wanted to have information inside the WaPOR again. And my point was how you can find the balance between the private sector, the universities who continue with these figures, and how they could, not do the work for them, but really let every university and all startups in their own region come up with solutions which is needed for their specific questions. And that's why that's why I'm so happy, in fact, is that you really had in the pitches, as I noticed, I mean, a number of pitches you could say they are basically the same, But I mean, it's not one model. I mean, really, all these people should make their own application because they are the closest to the target group. They are the closest to the questions. If we talk about irrigation advice, the best is, I mean, if you develop these things together with the farmers, see what they really need. So some specifics can come in because you are aware of these questions. The second thing was that I wanted to see how you could democratize the data. That means that it's not one company in the Netherlands or in Germany or in France who does it, but it is really then how you can make links between exactly what IHE is doing now. How can you make a link between companies here and companies there and see how they integrate and they do it together. And that's why the initiative you took now by having almost every team had different nationalities in the team. And that's exactly what was the aim of the whole thing. I mean, it's not that one is better than the other. And I mean, there was one example which I saw this week, AMSL, that's one of these big firms in the Netherlands. They sell their microchips to China, to everywhere, and they say, well, why to China? And then they say, well, and the CEO said, well, it's not one product. I mean, our product is a combination of 200 companies. It's not one person who has the idea. The idea maybe, but to work it out, it's a matter of cooperation. And every cooperation, you go a step further. So it is very, it's not wise for development, in fact, to keep data for yourself. So it really needs the expansion as you see today. And I think that's the future. And that's really what is happening. That's happening here. So I can't remember what the question was actually.
We wanted to go, and then people had their
Live
input
streaming
also.
is on.
So thank you for your time and your participation. And now I think our jury members are back. So we'll hand it over to our colleague Simon, and he will help us learn who these finalists really are.
Oh, I'm very curious, yeah.
I think you're sorry, Simon. I think you're still on mute. We just want to wait a few more dramatic seconds.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. I hope all the jury members have been able to join. I'm just asking our technical team because the Jitsi links, just one moment. Technical issues here. Yeah. Okay, no, sorry, one of the jury members got locked out. Well, I'm very glad to be returning back. Sorry, Job, for not seeing your presentation. I'm hoping everybody enjoyed it. We had to stretch. We had a very difficult time as jury, but a very nice one. As member of the hack team, we made it difficult for all of you, for the teams to be pitching in 1 minute. We really sort of tried to compress everything that you've done in 1 week into 60 seconds, and that I think was a challenge. It was an equal challenge for the jury, obviously, to get out as much as they could. So there was a lot of discussion going on. We obviously also reflected back on the murals that were there, part 7 of the murals. And I want to actually give a floor to all the jury members to shortly reflect on how they experienced today's pitches, and then we'll final off with the results. Okay, the floor is over to you, Annemarie, enjoy.
So I think you're on mute, Annemarie.
Okay, good morning. Sorry, I was on mute. I had a great morning with a lot of inspiring ideas. It went a bit fast, but we've seen passing a lot of innovative ideas. It was a very inspiring morning. Thank you for that.
Hello, I'm Domiti Vallée. I think it was a very exciting morning. All good, very good presentation. Very difficult to choose, but you had some catchy messages, and I think some suggestion on how to just really access farmers with simple methods using SMS. And I found it was very good to also look at the user end.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I would really congratulate all the teams for the great work that has been achieved and the great pitches. I really enjoyed this morning being with you guys, and I think I've learned a lot and a lot of innovative ideas. And I would like to really encourage even those that are not selected for the next 2 weeks to continue the effort, because I think you all guys covered the full range of potential applications using the WaPOR database, and I think that's extremely useful. So really congratulations to you all, even if you are not selected.
Right, Stefan. Yeah, I think Rami is maybe still trying to get back on the Jitsi, so go ahead.
Well, I also. Yeah, thank you. I thought the same. Yeah, my name is Stefan Dietrich. So thank you very much for this really inspiring morning. It was also kind of a not really stressful time, but interesting time. But 60 seconds is quite a hard thing to judge and to get the main message. And so all of you, congratulations to most of really excellent presentation and pitches. And yeah, as Greg has not voted for today, but in general, really interesting features that could push the world of water vapor data forward.
Right, I think before going over to the final minute, which Annemarie is going to present. Annemarie, I hope you have the final scores ready, available in front of you. Just thumbs up if you do.
I have to mention the scores as well.
No, you can send that, but maybe we'll just wait to see if Rami can still join for his reflections. I'm just checking all my social media and emails, etc. But I don't see him coming yet. I know he had some issues with internet and Jitsi as well. Yeah, Lauren, Karen, Hans, I don't know if it's maybe nice if you can join as well. Anything, do we have drums, anything to make a sound before Annemarie makes the result of the first week of the hackathon known? A very exciting moment.
I guess we can
Any last words? Any last words from you guys? No? Otherwise, we'll take it over to you. Annemarie, go ahead. Who are the winners of this first week of the hackathon?
Okay. Well, it was a very difficult decision, of course. There were so many examples, so many great ideas, and we had a lot of discussions. And actually, we didn't always agree at who to include. But finally, we made it to a list of 4 winners. I will start with number 4. And number 4, I think, is the application lots of people are waiting for. It's focusing on water accounting, and I think everybody wants to use that. So congratulations to the water accounting plugin development team. I think everybody is very eager to start using this kind of tooling to do water accounting using WaPOR. The number 3 is about improving decision-making between environment and agriculture, which we liked very much. Congratulations to the Iran team for, it's called the REWEM team. I'm looking forward to see the results of how you are going to integrate all these data sets and working with different users. Then the number 2, this application goes back to basis of WaPOR irrigation efficiency. And I want to congratulate the SIESP team with their showing irrigation efficiency by phone app. Looking forward to that. And then the number one, that one focuses on a sector that's often a bit overlooked in WaPOR. And for that reason, we think it's very interesting. It's focusing on pastures. Grazing Guide, you are the winner of today. Congratulations. And then, as I already said, we had a lot of difficulties choosing. So we asked if we could add a fifth party. And yes, we could. So Gaming for Crops, you are included as well. Congratulations.
Yay!
Many congratulations to everyone. It was a pleasure being a jury member and watching all the pitches. I would like to see the pitches a bit longer next time and to learn more of everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Annemarie, for sharing that. I'll just recap the team numbers if people didn't remember the team names. So that's Team 17, Team 4, Team 14, Team 36, and as last but not least, Team 30 joining in. Well, maybe to close the day, I see that our last jury member has also been able to overcome technical issues. Maybe Rami, the honor yours to close this day, this first week of Hackathon. Maybe some final words for the teams that didn't win and for the teams that are now going ahead for the coming 2 weeks. So the floor is yours, Rami.
Thank you so much, Simon. So first of all, congratulations to all. Passing through this week have been already something that you've won. You've won learning, you've won experience with multiple experts, mentors, you've gained knowledge. So congratulations to all. For the teams that have not passed to the second stage, keep on your drive. Your ideas are great. They could be tweaked and improved. Focus on the technology, but also focus on the business model. How will this solution that you're building be used in the future? And how can it make sense to scientists, to farmers, to decision makers, and so on? So make sure that your business model is thought of, it makes sense, it's user-friendly, and can scale. So this is very, very important. For the teams that have been selected to the second stage, make sure that you validate your solutions with end users. Make sure you contact people that will be potentially using this solution and validate if it works. Focus on the user experience, the user interface, and how all those solutions could make sense to the next step. WaPOR is an amazing tool that's available and to be used, and we count on people like you to make the difference and make it more accessible, more usable, and improving the agriculture sector and sustainability in the region. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for those closing words. I couldn't agree more. So all the teams, finalists or not, I think they apply to all of us. So I would like to officially close this session by thanking all of you, the participants, for working so hard this week. Also like to give a big thank you to our experts and our jury members and our speakers. We know we involved a lot of our people and our networks over the last week, and it was really wonderful to see us come together as a WaPOR community and include more people in this community through this hackathon. Also a big thank you to the hackathon organizing committee. I know we've had a lot of long weekends and late nights putting this together, and I've enjoyed working on it. So I hope you all have too. Until then, so the winning teams, we will get in touch with you tomorrow. But today you guys can celebrate and relax and maybe have a digital celebration party. But we'll be in touch with you tomorrow with more details. And aside from that, I think we will officially close this session. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks on December 8th when these finalist teams give their more detailed pitches. Thank you all.